Imagine devoting your entire life to a dream, only to have the world tell you again and again that you're not good enough. Imagine painting for years, hoping one masterpiece would change your fate. But instead, doors kept closing, critics kept sneering, and opportunities kept slipping away. That was the life of Samuel Morse, a man whose heart once beat only for art, but whose failures pushed him toward an invention that changed the world forever. This is the story of how rejection in one field became the spark that lit the path to global communication. Samuel Finley Breese Morse was born in 1791 in Charlestown, Massachusetts. His father, a pastor and writer, hoped young Samuel would follow a traditional path, law, ministry, or teaching. But Samuel had other dreams. From a young age, he found himself drawn to the world of colors, canvases, and brushstrokes. He wanted to paint. He wanted to capture beauty, emotion, and history with every flick of his hand. When he went to Yale, he studied philosophy, mathematics, and religious ideas, but art never left his heart. Even in his dorm room, Morse painted whenever he could. He dreamed of becoming America's great painter, respected like the masters of Europe. His friends remembered him as passionate, a little stubborn, but endlessly optimistic. He once said to a friend, "If only my brush could speak as eloquently as my heart, the world would know my soul." But the world wasn't ready to listen. Morse traveled to England in 1811 to study art under some of the greatest painters of the age. He hoped to return to America as a master, but when he came back, reality was cruel. America at the time didn't care much for fine art. Portraits were done for necessity, not for glory. Morse worked tirelessly, painting politicians, businessmen, and ordinary families. Yet recognition remained out of reach. His large, ambitious works, like a massive painting of the House of Representatives, failed to find buyers. Critics dismissed him. Commissions dried up. Financial struggles haunted him. At times, he could barely afford rent. He wrote letters to his family filled with despair. "I must ask myself daily if I am a fool to continue. Every effort seems wasted. My art, which is all I love, has given me nothing but hunger and humiliation." And then tragedy struck. While working away from home on a painting commission, Morse received devastating news. His wife, Lucretia, had suddenly fallen gravely ill. He rushed home as fast as he could, but by the time he arrived, it was too late. She had already passed away. He wasn't there to hold her hand, wasn't there to say goodbye. That loss shattered him. He later said it was the most painful moment of his life, the moment he realized how cruelly slow communication could be. It was during this period of grief and rejection that fate quietly redirected Morse's life. On a ship back from Europe in 1832, he overheard a conversation about electricity and electromagnetism. Scientists were discussing how electrical currents could be used to send signals across wires. The idea struck him like lightning. What if information messages, news, even life and death updates could travel instantly? Faster than a horse, faster than a ship, faster than the speed of loss. For the first time in years, Morse felt a new fire within him. Art had rejected him, but perhaps invention would accept him. He told his shipmates, "If messages can move as swiftly as light across wires, then distance itself may be conquered." From that day on, Morse picked up not a brush but a different kind of tool. The journey was not easy. Morse was not a trained scientist or engineer. He was an artist dabbling in unfamiliar territory. People laughed at him. Some called him a dreamer, others a fool, but he pressed on. He worked tirelessly, experimenting with wires, batteries, and codes. Night after night, he tested ideas, often skipping meals, often broke. His children sometimes went hungry as he poured every cent into his experiments. He developed a system, a series of dots and dashes that could represent letters and words. Simple, elegant, universal, Morse code. But inventing wasn't enough. He needed funding. He needed belief. For years he lobbied Congress to support his Telegraph project. Most politicians dismissed him until finally, in 1843, he received a $30,000 grant to build the first long-distance telegraph line between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. With trembling hands, in May 1844, Morse tapped out the very first official message across the line. "What hath God wrought?" The words traveled miles instantly. History had changed. That single moment transformed Samuel Morse from a failed painter into a world-changing inventor. The telegraph revolutionized communication. Messages that once took weeks by horse or ship could now be sent in minutes. Morse's invention connected nations, sped up business, saved lives in war, and united families across great distances. His name became immortal, not for the paintings he longed to create, but for the language of dots and dashes that carried the voices of millions. Ironically, the world that rejected his art could never ignore his invention. Samuel Morse had failed in one dream, but he had succeeded in something far greater. The story of Samuel Morse teaches us something powerful. Failure is not the end, it is the beginning of redirection. Sometimes, rejection is life's way of pushing us toward a destiny greater than we imagined. Morse wanted to be remembered as a painter, but destiny had other plans. His true legacy came from the ashes of rejection, from the heartbreak of loss, from the courage to keep moving forward when the world said no. So if you've been rejected, if your dream feels like it's slipping away, remember Samuel Morse. Remember that sometimes failure is the door to your greatest success. Never give up, because you may be one step away from creating something that changes the world. Thank you for listening to this story of Samuel Morse, the failed painter who invented the telegraph. If this story inspired you, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who might need a reminder to never give up. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories of perseverance and triumph to life.